Today we're going to be going over how I build one of my dual root zone grow pots. Throughout this video I'll be going over the instructions that I use in order to put together one of these grow pots, and then after we're done building one, we're going to take one apart so you can see how the plant grows, including viewing its roots and stalk. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the video. So first we're going to start with a 5-gallon tote. So what we're going to do first is attach our circular cutting tool, the most dangerous cutting tool I've ever seen in my life, and we're going to cut a 7¼ inch hole on the cap. I put this hole off to one side in order to leave room for the water float. You'll want to make sure that you go nice and slow on this part, especially if you're using one of these totes. If you push a little too hard, you're going to have bits of flying plastic everywhere, so just be sure to go nice and slow as you're cutting through this top. Next, we're going to make the hole for the water float valve, as well as make some holes in the cap to allow us to slide a dowel across it, which will provide stability and support for the pot that will be on top of this tote. Once we have our holes made on the top of the cap, we can go ahead and start sliding in our dowel. Once the support dowel is installed, we'll go ahead and put in our water float valve. Once we are done installing all the pieces on the cap, we'll now move to the bottom of the tote. We're going to drill a hole here, which is going to hold a rubber grommet and a 90-degree elbow water fitting, which will connect to a hose. This will act as our water level viewer. Once we have everything nice and fitted, we'll go ahead and finish it off by cutting the hose down to size. Now that we have the base of our pot done, we'll now move over to the actual pot. So what I'm starting off with here is a pool strainer that I got from my local hardware supply store, as well as some 1/2-inch square chicken wire. I cut the chicken wire to the circumference of the pull strainer, and I attach it all by 8-inch zip ties. One tip here is to make sure that you put the heads of the zip ties on the inside of your chicken wire. If not, it might get in the way when you're trying to put it on your reservoir. Now that we have the skeleton of our pot made, we're going to use some weed barrier fabric. We'll use this to keep our growing medium on the inside of the pot while still allowing water and air to pass. Once we cut it to size, we'll go ahead and attach it to the skeleton of this pot by using a hot glue gun. Once we're done placing the fabric on this pot, we can now install our custom 3D printed trim ring. This will help to hold the fabric to the top of the pot and will also provide support in the future as the plants continue to grow. Now that the pot is done, we'll go ahead and place it within its new reservoir. We'll go ahead and apply some hot glue here just to provide some stability for the pot and the cap. Now that everything is nicely fitted, we'll go ahead and install the water fitting. And there it is, our custom-made dual root zone grow pot. Now in my case, I really hate watering on a daily basis, so the reason I had used the water float valve is because I wanted to connect this 5-gallon reservoir to a larger reservoir upstream, which is where my water and nutrients are held. For this, I'm using two 25-gallon reservoirs, one with mixed nutrients for the growth cycle, the other one mixed with nutrients for the flowering cycle. These two larger reservoirs are elevated in order for the water to flow from the highest to lowest point. In this case, the lowest point being the 5-gallon reservoir. These larger reservoirs allow me to mix the nutrients in a much more comfortable position, and they also allow me to not be required to water on a daily basis. One reservoir will last me an entire grow cycle, whereas the flowering cycle requires 2 res refills. The small reservoirs and the large reservoirs are all connected by way of plastic water line, the same type used in basic reverse osmosis filter setup. Now that we've learned how to build the pot, let's see what it looks like after we've already grown in one. This pot was from a grow that had just finished up about 2 weeks ago. Now that the main plant has been lobbed off, we're going to go ahead and start tearing this pot down. We'll start by removing the plant support. This one was made with PVC and chicken wire. Now we'll remove the pot from the reservoir, which will expose the roots. Now we'll begin to cut the roots away from the plastic strainer and remove the weed barrier fabric from the skeleton. From here we can start cutting off all the old zip ties, which will remove the support for the medium. We'll now remove the zip ties connecting the chicken wire to the strainer and the rest of the chicken wire from the plant. Now, as we did when we were younger, let's go play in the dirt. That's what we can expect from our pots. A nice growth, very strong stalk with roots shooting out everywhere. Well everybody, that's it. That's how you build a custom-made dual root zone grow pot and what you can expect to get out of one. I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you.